Hi there, it's Jenna from scribblinggrace.com. Today I have a quick little video for you on how I paint watercolor lavender in my journaling Bible. So I am working on Ephesians 4 verse 1 through 3 today, and so I already wrote out, be completely humble and gentle, be patient, bearing with one another in love. With my Tombow Funosuke brush pen, and I have tutorials on how to do brush lettering like this. And other lettering styles, and I'll put those links in the blog post that goes along with this video at scribblinggrace.com/watercolor-lavender, and you'll also find all of the links to all of the supplies that I'm using in this video over there at that blog post, and I'll put that in the description below as well. So to paint my little lavender, I'm just using a small round paintbrush and some purple. I'm using my Kuretake Gansai Tambi watercolor set that I always use. I did not prep my page with anything, and I've never had any bleed through issues with this watercolor set. So I'm just painting directly on the page, and I'm just taking the tip of my paintbrush, I just dipped it in that paint, and I'm just creating kind of V shapes with the tip of that brush, and I'm just kind of starting with one V and then going downward. It's kind of the same shape. If you were to do this in brown, it would kind of create a wheat look. So if you wanted to do a verse on wheat, you could use this tutorial as well and just do it in different colors than the purple. But yeah, it's a really simple little shape. I'm kind of leaving a little bit of white space in between each of my strokes. And some of my groups of lavender are longer than others because I want this kind of look like really natural, kind of like wild lavender, I guess, in a field. So I'm starting off by just doing these little shapes and little bunches of lavender seeds, or whatever you'd call them. So I'm just kind of filling the bottom of my page, trying to keep somewhat even the gaps, but I don't want it to be too uniform and too perfect either. So some lavender pieces will be a little closer together than others, and just go with where you want it to go. Let the paint guide you. I'm just going to keep on filling in a few more little lavenders here, and I might build more into it later on because you can always add more, but it's harder to take away. So I'm starting off light with it, and then I might just go a little bit, add a little bit more later on. And then now that I have kind of a base layer of my lavender here, I'm just going to go ahead and add some grass and stems. So it's a really simple page. I think this page took me like 15 minutes total, if that. And so to do my grass, I'm just grabbing a green color from my watercolor set, and I'm just going to keep using the tip of my round paintbrush. This is just a small round paintbrush. I just get cheapo ones from the craft store or Walmart. They're nothing fancy, no fancy brushes or anything. And I'm just using that tip of my paintbrush and just making little swipes upward. Trying not to apply too much pressure, because if you apply too much pressure, then you'll get wider stripes, and I just want little thin strokes for my grass. And I'm just trying to be quick about it and not not think too much about it, because I don't want it to be too uniform. Again, I want it to just look natural and organic, and so I'm just swiping any which way that I want my brush to go, mainly upward, but I might go a little more to the side, and yeah, so I'm just making sure that the green is touching all of those lavender heads that I put down, so that they have stems as well. And I'm just going to keep on adding this grass in until it's nice and full, and I feel like my page is where I want it to go. I also will note that I'm trying to keep my colors somewhat light because I want to be able to read the scripture that's on the page. And you'll notice that I did go over the scripture. So my personal opinion on this is that I don't mind if I go over the scripture in my journaling Bibles, because I have other Bibles that I read and study from. This is more for art worship. But that's a totally personal opinion, so you could definitely scale this down and keep it just to the margins if that's something that you care about. So this is just my example, and I would encourage you to have fun with it and try new things and try this one out. I believe that this is one of those paintings that anybody could do. It's really a fun one. So I would hope that you give this a try. Even if you feel like you're not artistic enough, this is also a great one to start off with watercolors if you've never really painted with watercolors before. The little simple tutorials like this are great ones, especially if you just keep it small into the margins too. So now I'm going to go ahead and just add in a few more little dots of little baby lavender heads and just trying to fill up and add that finishing touch to my page here. And then I decided to add in a blue background for the sky, and I really should have either let my lavender and grass dry completely before adding this blue, which I didn't do, so some of my lavender smudged a little bit, or I should have done this blue background before I started painting the lavender, but either way, if I had just let that lavender dry completely, I wouldn't have had any smearing, but it just wasn't completely dry when I added this blue on top of it. But I find that it wasn't really that noticeable. I did end up deciding to go back over the lavender after I painted on this wash of the blue background. So I just picked up a large flat paintbrush, lots of water, and a little bit of blue paint, and just painted it all over my page, just to give that nice light blue background. And again, I'm just keeping it light and just wanted to help finish the page. The Tombow Funosuke brush pen that I use to do the lettering is also waterproof, so that one did not smear and I didn't have to worry about that when I painted over it, so that's something to keep in mind. I find that the Tombow Funosuke and the Micron pens that I use for most of my pages, those are both waterproof and they don't bleed through the Bible page, journaling Bible page. And so here I'm just using my craft heat gun to just dry the page completely, and then I'll add in a little bit more finishing touch to that lavender, just a little bit, again, just taking the tip of my paintbrush and just swiping in little V shapes to just finish off those lavenders. And that is just about it for my page. So again, super quick one, super simple, but beautiful, fun one. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And remember that you can head on over to the blog post at scribblinggrace.com/watercolorlavender, and you can find all the links to all of the supplies that I used, as well as links to other helpful posts like those lettering tutorials. So that's about it. There's no bleed through to this page. I hope that you enjoyed this. All right, have a wonderful day. God bless.